Welcome everyone once again to the Quantum Cafe and the Interstellar Lounge with your host here, the Cosmic Messenger. I'm a Lightbody technician, Reiki master teacher, aura scanning specialist, and metaphysician. Today's a very special broadcast. It's not my usual affair that I do on the show, where I come in, pick a specific metaphysical topic, and then we riff off about it and dive deep into its wisdoms. Because you've arrived at a multidimensional hub, right? We're bringing in all the other elements of the multiverse and all realms of metaphysical healing and cosmic activities and bringing them into a container so we can deconstruct them, go through the awakening process, ascensions, energy work, the whole bit, and have a place where anything on the table can be discussed about. But today's a little bit different, right? We have Alicia Bliss from the Lightbody.com over here. And who is this wonderful being? Well, we're going to get to it at the end of the video, but just to give you a little tip for when we get there, we're going to be talking about our harmonic duo sessions. Yeah, we collaborate. So we'll dive deep into that at the end. It's going to be a larger chunk of it too. But what we're going to start off with is basically introducing both of ourselves and a little bit about how we work. And then we'll each take a section and we're going to talk about the offerings that we bring to the table. I find it's very important for the collective on planet Earth to have accessibility to all different versions of modalities, information about all the mechanics of deep healing modalities, diving into them and getting more information about different ways we can work with each other, as well as if you've been thinking of working with myself and possibly now Alicia, this is a great way to get to know us as well too as we dive deeper into how that all flows. Plus combo sessions, double the vortex, right? So Alicia, what do you do in your practice? How do you work? What's your working titles? All that awesome stuff. You're located in Portland. Tell us all about it.
Okay, well, hello out there. I am Alicia Bliss. I am a holistic nurse located in Portland, Oregon, and really anywhere in the world. So I am formally trained in many modalities, informally trained in all of it. And my working titles are holistic nurse. I'm a metaphysical healer, a multidimensional healer and alchemist, and a animal communicator. What do I do? A number of things. So I kind of bridge the gap between the here and now in all of our parts. So over my own experience with healing, I've come to understand how to heal from a core level. So I walk with people through the Akashic records. So Akash meaning ether, meaning our records of all that is. I help people open to everything that they are in this remembrance, in other lifetimes, in their family remembrance. And just as I've kind of learned these pieces, we take these pieces and we transfigure them, we transmute them, we remold them. We say, what is it in your life that you are ready for in this now time to come online or to come offline? I help with any physical, mental, emotional, behavioral, family system, lineage, clearing, activating, aligning, resettling the field. So I work one-on-one with people via Zoom, in person. My sessions can tend to be an hour, but typically they tend to be about 2 hours to 3 hours. And we're covering all of our bases. How are we relating with our bodies and every aspect of our interrelating with this planet? So if somebody comes to me with a goal, we have a variety of aspects of how we'll work on that from a physical and a metaphysical standpoint. So with a lot of my clients, we're doing one-on-one long-term work where we're talking about abundance with their business, abundance in their life, certain medical concerns, physical healing, all the way through simple kind of complex behavioral structures, or what's going on with this part of my body and where did it come from? And I'm ready to move through it. Through this path, I also have become tuned to animals, the telluric realms. So I speak directly with the plants and particularly with animals. So I help humans and their animal companions to align and I guess the word is reformat on all levels and all layers in a really beautiful way, learning what the different energies are and lovingly guiding them into transmutation.
Amazing. Can I also throw in there that you have earth seed qualities as well too? right? So we got Starseed from another planet, lands onto Earth for the first time. It's got Starseed qualities, and Alicia, she's an Earthseed. And then you work with pendulums too, correct? And you have a big stack of charts, and that comes from a specific modality that you've taken training in, correct?
Totally. Yep.
Can you
So
tell us a little bit more about that?
yeah, so I have a number of different modalities that I have, again, been formally and informally attuned to. And typically, with any of my healing work, I came to it for my own healing, and then the veil opens, and it's like, hey, you open the Akashic records, or you work with these charts. So yes, I will use a pendulum a lot in my sessions. So one of the primary sessions that I lovingly call Akashic alignments. We'll be working a lot with a pendulum. Pendulum is a tool for clarity, is a tool for helping to move energy, to align spaces. I have a series of charts that we'll look through. This is from a process called spiritual response technique. And really from there, it's kind of been lovingly shifted into my own version of charts. For example, we might be working with the spiritual response technique charts, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, your Earth star is coming and it needs some work right now. Or today it was like going through someone's entire chakra system and doing a flush. So yeah, so we'll be working with the pendulum, saying, is this a yes? Is this a no? Helping to create the vortex of energy, and moving through vows, oaths, belief systems. Yeah, so again, that comes mostly from what's called spiritual response technique, and more. What's really cool about kind of how I work is, yeah, I've been an Earthseed, aka I keep coming back to Earth to help heal the people. The first time that I had an Akashic Records opening for myself, they said, "Our shining sun, you are one of the great healers of this world, and it's time to wake up." And as somebody who's gone through my own deep levels of healing, that was not a shock, but a curious and beautiful recognition of who I am. And so through that, kind of learning like, oh, I keep coming back here, and that's why I'm so tied to the earth and these curandera lineages. You can think of me a lot more as a curandera in a lot of ways. So it's just really reading the field and moving through what's there.
That sounds absolutely beautiful. And you bring in different tools as well, because you have your pendulum and stuff. I mean, I've seen your work before, but if a specific crystal needs to come in, feathers, smudging, pulling a card out of an oracle deck, and your multidimensional language that you'd use, you're very well versed in that stuff. So those various things can come into your sessions, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So, multidimensional language, meaning light language coming through my hands, through my voice. There's direct channel. All of my clair senses are online. I may be coming up to somebody, and through my many years of practice and initiations into source mastery, I may be hands on going, okay, I'm going to touch this part of your body. Ooh, what's happening in this realm? Oh, your dad is coming forward for right now. Responsibility. Okay, there's a hook here. Can we pull that out? All right, now let's transfigure this energy and move it into what it wants to be. You never quite know what's going to come through, but I will say that a lot of my core work with people is we are our own healers, kind of aligning and embodying into our ability to self-heal. Empowerment, sacral activation, sacral wisdom, re-accessing all of these parts that we have already. And then like the every day-to-day thing, languaging, relations with people, starting to see the way that energies are moving, starting to see the way that messages are coming to you. And, yeah, so it's hands-on, hands-off. Occasionally I'll work with people. Maybe we'll have a plant that we're working with and using that for a long period of time or a short period of time in a ritual way. And then particularly also how like an assisted plant or an assistive mantra practice might be helping us to move the field. So when I work with people, we could be going from, hey, we're having a conversation to let's open our field, which all of a sudden we're in spaceless time and space, healing all timelines simultaneously, getting a direct wisdom from our higher self. And then next thing you know, I'm moving something massive off the field, and we're doing like a guided visualization that really is an energetic movement and transformation.
So you could be laying down during a session, but you also could be sitting up or at the table, literally with you, like
Yeah.
with the person speaking, like you're sitting on either side, correct?
Yeah.
And then you're
Correct.
also, and I want to throw one more tidbit just to make sure it's covered too. Tell us also a little bit about your healing space as well too.
So I work directly in Portland, Oregon. So most of my sessions, if they're in person, are in my home, which is Casa del Sol, House of the Sun. So we may be sitting in my ritual room, which is where I am right now, having various types of spaces that we're opening. So sometimes we'll come up here and we'll be pulling a number of cards. I work a lot with different oracle decks, the wisdom of different transdimensionals, dragons, or like deities and things like that come through. So we may be in my ritual space up here for a variety of reasons. We may be downstairs in my just literally at my kitchen table, transfiguring worlds, and actually a lot via Zoom. It's beautiful and surprising how much of this comes through via the landscape of the digital, because we're tapped in. We're using the ley lines between us on the earth. We're using the ley lines between us on the astral planes. And one other facet of my work, which comes up a lot, is I do a lot of house visits. And in the home visits, I might be working directly with the person, with their animal, or specifically with their space. So over time and through multiple initiations that I didn't quite realize I was asking for, I've learned how to read the energy in the room between people, but specifically walk to a corner of the room and go, oh, hello, energy that lives here, or hello, portal that's open. Hey, part of the land that hasn't quite been moved through. And so we're working with the land, the house, the shepherding of the land and house, and working with them to clear the spaces, bring in new energies, start to create. I mean, think of it like a multidimensional canvas. So yeah, I'm in Portland, Oregon. I also occasionally do in-person sessions that are short sessions at a place called Psychic Sister, which is down the street from my home in Portland, Northeast Portland. Yeah, and I'm very mobile all over the place. I've been in other countries even doing work in people's homes and their lands, etc.
Wonderful. It sounds amazing. So to sum that up, that's called geomancy work, or the act of cleansing energies and spaces, the environmental cleansings as well too. All right, so I'm going to get back a little bit into myself, and then we're going to dive deeper into what kind of like our sessions are all about and what we actually offer, the length of them, give you an idea of what we're working with here. And then we'll talk about how me and Alicia met and how we combo up together, the type of upshiftings we've been doing for each other, and how that translates into the work and the offerings that we have as well too. So a lot of you recognize me from being on the channel before, but if you're new, I am the Cosmic Messenger, Derek Pennett. So as I talked earlier at the beginning of the video, I work as a Lightbody technician. So that's my main working title, and that's taking your metaphysical parts of the human energy field and putting them back into working order. But I scan your whole entire body when I'm doing my sessions, and that's where the metaphysician component comes up, because I'm acting like a metaphysician while we're doing our post and pre chats, decoding all the information that came up in the session. I have the table here. That's primarily how I do my work, is table sessions. You're laying on a 5 therapy multi-wave mat, so it's got a bed of crystals, photonic red lasers, some pulse electromagnetic frequencies go through it. It's EMF protected, high level of negative ions as well. It's absolutely off the charts. So you just start the session like that, and then my hands make contact with the body, and I bring in a whole variety of other tools, such as tuning forks, which are acutonics based, so they're all planetary, working in the realms of astrology. I know that realm very well, so every planet has a whole bunch of different body parts or energetics that works in the human biofield, plus the consciousness of each planet matches up with our evolutionary consciousness as well too. So when you place them on the body, you get deep healing that way. And then there's vibration elixirs, which is taking metaphysical objects such as a crystal and putting it into the consciousness of water, because it remembers that consciousness when it's activated for that purpose. You take one drop during a session, maybe it's on the third eye, on the wrists, or on the feet, and then you get to absorb the consciousness of that, and it starts working through you. And then there's various sound healing. I'm very intentional with my music and my sound tools as well too. So everything that I put in there has a direct purpose for the type of session and what we're working on directly. Universal life force energy gets emitted from my hands. We all have it naturally inside of our bodies. And when you go through Reiki training, so I work mostly in multidimensional Reiki and Sacred Heart Tamiana, And then I'm an aura scanning specialist doing 7 layers of the aura scanning. So when I put universal life force energy on the body, then it helps and assists with a whole slew of things. Quite honest, me and Alicia work in similar realms. So it opens up the Akashic records. It brings in information about what's discordant in our body's energy fields. And then the soul starts to speak and provides messages. There's a team of transdimensionals working with me at all times, plus the being that's on the table, or if it's multiple people having a session at the same time. We'll talk about that after, but I technically do duo sessions as well too, where there's 2 tables at the same time. And we get lots of information coming through the field, everything from the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual realms. I'm very cosmic, so I can meet you where you're at if you're at high level of ascension. We can also start out with Metaphysics 101, or perhaps assisting with acute and physical pain as well too. Everything from like psoriasis covering the body to high blood pressure, or I want to tap in to my highest self possible. And so clients are laying down, we're going through the process, and I bring that energy in to support putting your whole self back into what I call harmonic equilibrium. It's quite fantastic. Then we have some decoding time after and a process, and then I transcribe everything into a follow-up email for you and send it your way so that you have all the sacred medicines as well too. Basically, I've been all over on the spectrum for full spectrum healing is what I like to call it. So there's no area that we won't check, no part that's off limits. It could be buried core root patterns, deep emotional stuff, or perhaps inner child healing. Others have come to me for like 5th dimensional chakra system or moving into the higher seats of their awareness. And so when we put the body back into that high level of energy healing, then we're able to show up, A, for all the things we do in the world in a higher capacity. B, intensities aren't as like big, intense moments when we show up to them become less intense because we're able to work through them. And C, we unravel the mystery of the metaphysical gifts that we hold deep within ourselves. And we go through the veil of forgetting when we're born, and we bring in that remembering back onto the earth plane so that we can build you as new earth, so that you can in turn build new earth and access multidimensional living. So that's a little bit about how I work. I do workshops, all sorts of events, host stuff, frequency baths, set up at markets, and do like different events at the Star Temple. So that's where we are here. Don't want to forget about that part because we asked Alicia about her place too. This is where I'm recording the video, is at the Star Temple, and it's a 5th dimensional advanced frequency healing space here in Victoria, BC. And I also do in-person and distance sessions as well too. Wow. Thanks for listening, everyone. We got more on the journey to come. So we're going to bounce back to Alicia here for a little bit. And I know we kind of touched base on how you work. Now give us some ideas about, and they're directly from your website. Everybody can go access them. We'll put our information down at the end of the video. I'd like us to both verbalize them so that everybody can hear them. You never know if somebody doesn't have any vision and they need some assistance to be able to hear that. And then we'll also post them in word form as well too, so that you can write them down at the end of the video. So that said, here we are. Tell us about your session types and what exactly you're offering. How long are they? What is it going to entail when they book in with you? Do you have connection calls, all that sorts of stuff? How long have you been working in this field for, et cetera, et cetera?
Thank you. Yeah, so my business practice or my life practice is called the Light of Bliss. Alicia Bliss that's my family name is Bliss. So this was a practice that came to me, thelightofbliss.com. Yeah, I've been a nurse for over 10 years. I've been a healer my whole life. I've been activated as all that I am. It's been an initiation path, I'd say, for 15, 20 years. It's hard to really define when we get activated, but I'd say a solid 5 years in my just this practice of business and who I am. So I have a variety of different session types. So sometimes people want to come in and they're like, hey, I just need help right now. I'm ready for like a big shift or clarity, or etc. If we're wanting just, hey, let's just get a little bit of clarity. Well, first of all, always book a connection call with me, 30 minutes, free call. We can kind of go anywhere. It can be a matter of just, hey, I just need a little bit of understanding of what you do, or are we a good fit, a good match? Great. Let's meet. 30 minutes, phone call, Zoom call. sometimes tea, but typically phone or Zoom are the most accessible. And yeah, so my sessions will range from an hour to full half day kind of transformational processes. Meaning, 1 hour is really good for someone going, hey, I just really need some help with understanding my world, oriented to my world, understanding what some of the next paths would be. So that would be more of an integration call or sort of just like an integration support. So this could be integration from one of our sessions, or it's just, hey, I don't really know who to talk to, but guess what? I've got this person who deeply understands the allopathic medicine system, deeply understands the naturopathic medicine systems, deeply understands everything beyond that, and can speak all of these languages. Someone who understands what it's like to go on deep dive journeys, whether that's plant assisted or just actual life kind of meditations or openings, awakenings, etc. What's going on with astrology? Why am I feeling this way? Or can you just help me get perspective on what's going on in my family? So I'm here to be the recoder, the oracle, the support. And I've been on probably every board of director you can imagine, and also helped form all of businesses. Like I worked in a bank for a long period of time. I built websites for a long period of time. Been a nurse, formerly trained in HIV harm reduction. I can kind of walk through you in that lens. So 1 hour would be, what's up? Can I just like get some support? 2 hours is my general people who I want to work with regularly or who are interested in like a somewhat of a deep dive, but maybe not like a big session at this time. So 2 hours is my general sessions is what I call them, virtual and in person. Those can be 1 or 2 hours, could be opening the Akashic records, moving some simple energies, long-term planning. So that's more when I do like holistic planning with people, where you would end up getting an email afterwards, kind of a goal, a SMART goal plan. How are we integrating this into your life? And usually with those, we meet I've had some people where we're working on formal goals. So it'd be like weekly and then bi-weekly, like every other week, and then monthly. So I've got 2 hour sessions, and this is just for humans. And then I have 3 hour online sessions. These are like our deep dives. Let's clear the field. Let's move in. So with a lot of people, we'll start with a deep dive and then move into regular 2 hour sessions for a period of time. In person, I do like half day rituals or plant assisted full day rituals. That's a specific thing to reach out to me about. But for my half day rituals, we're doing like the charts, but we're also doing like a full curandera session, moving the stuff out of the field, touching the parts, what are the vows, etc. That's in person. And we'd be meeting for about 5 hours. For animals, so with animals, again, it can be that 1 hour, hey, I just need some communication support and things like that, or it's 2.5 hour, 2 to 2.5 hour sessions. In person, it could be a little longer, because in person we could do a lot more hands-on support, but generally 2 to 2.5 hour sessions where we're doing collaborative healing both for the animal and the human. So just know that anytime that we come in for animal work, animals are really, really good at being companions in so many ways. And one of the things that they do is they kind of like absorb energies out of the field. So I can't tell you how many people I've come across and they're like, my dog is anxious. And I'm like, and what about your life? And they're like, well, me too. And so we'll see those ways that they come across, or the dog has cancer and the person recently recovered from that as well. So we have an opportunity with those to bring in like other animals in the field, household energies, the human companions, and do a lot of really cool healing. So 2.5 hours, I'd say, for animals. And it's surprising how many people are maybe not quite ready yet, or hadn't quite realized that they could look at some aspect of their healing, but once they see it through their beloved, it kind of comes into form in that greater way. I do sometimes do sessions where it will be a couple. It could be a couple with their companion animal or a couple on their own. I would generally suggest the 3 hour for those because it's a little more complex. Yeah.
Interesting. And then, so you also do like a lot of like spiritual guidance and counseling in those kinds of ways on a multidimensional level. So I just wanted to slip that in, because that's included in your sessions, but somebody could also book you for that to do decoding or different stuff as well too, correct?
hmm Yeah, and with the spiritual guidance, specifically, I do a 3-pack. Like I say, it's spiritual guidance with your business, and you're kind of like in this. I'm forming a business, but I'm also an awakened one. And how do those two fit? So I would suggest a 3-pack series a lot of times for when we're going through these initiations where we need a little bit more of a focused container. I'm very good at focused containers. I actually love like the historical aspect of things where we can be tracking them over time and seeing an energy movement. So for example, right now I'm working with someone where it's a spiritual business package where we were doing like a 6-week container where I'm helping her define all of these aspects of her business while also moving these things out of her field, with the end goal of getting her business online and the interim goal of all of her self coming together, of really stepping into being seen. So yes, I'll do spiritual guidance, and especially I love it when it's like spiritual business kind of containers. And the other thing I'll mention too is when I do home cleanses, those are generally in like the 3 to 5 hour mark. So we would come up with a contracted rate. My hourly is $125. And that's US prices. All of my offerings are on a sliding scale. It's really important to me that this is accessible for people. So we find a space where we can meet in that arena. Yeah, and the other things that I do, so I'm 200-hour yoga teacher. I've years and years of running mindfulness groups. So I've done workshops where we're doing like mind, body, and kind of energetics workshops or land rituals. Really just kind of like seeing what's in the field to move through. Yeah, and Akashic Records within all of this. So again, when we're doing the Akashic Records, it can be that formal reading, or it's like we're just opening the field of the Akash, and all time is transforming now, especially if you have ancestors who have moved across the veil. Like they're ready. They want to be with us.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing, Alicia. All right. Well, I'll get into mine too. Unless you have any more you wanted to add? Okay, sounds good. So I have a wide variety of sessions. I actually have a lot. If anybody's been to my webpage, there's a whole bunch of treatments. So I'm going to sum them up to you in a smaller way. I'm going to start with the physical ones first. So I have acute sessions. Those ones do not come with follow-up emails, and you can book everything from a 45-minute right up until a 2-hour. But if somebody did reach out to me and I didn't have a client coming after or before when you booked, we could do almost any length. There would be a price point that would be created for you for that one. But primarily with the acute ones is that they're being used regularly. So if somebody books packs of 4, then there's a bit of a price reduction that goes on with those. And then you can access a container, but those ones come where we're using them on a weekly basis, because that's the point of them, is to help with a regular acute physical condition. In the multidimensional realms, I do in-person and distance, of course, and my 2 main ones that I use in the Reiki family are multidimensional Reiki and theta wave Reiki. So multidimensional Reiki has a whole bunch of tools that come out to play during the sessions, and you get a taste of everything that I have to offer. They're great for metaphysical tune-ups and full spectrum healing and doing scans on the body, seeing what comes up to the surface. And then from there, you could book a 3-session transformational package, because quite often things come out in 3s, and then we set up these timelines where one session continues off to the next one. The multidimensional and theta wave Reikis are an hour and 45 minutes plus talk time. And the theta wave one goes more into the traditional Usui system of natural healing from the Reiki founder. And I use some of the 21 original hand positions, and we go really deep into the theta waves to support the body in a yin and parasympathetic state. Now, when we're going to any of these journeys, we'll go wherever your soul needs to go. So it's multidimensional healing, whether it's a lifetime on another planet, star nation that's coming in, or wanting to rewire the cellular messaging, or we just want to get off of junk food and move to organic food, stuff like that. So those 2 are very supportive. Those ones you're laying on the table, we quite often, unless we're doing a specific activation during the session, we'll do both sides of the body that are flipped over. What are these activations I speak of? I'm not going to list them all off because I have about 30 of them. But I have focus points for each session. And the session might be healing something that you, and working with you on something that you brought up. And so we'll create the headline and the focus for that. But there's also the human metaphysical parts of the energy field. And those are the ones that quite often I'm going in and mending and repairing. And they have high level activations that you can do with them. Introductory, medium, or advanced. So for them, kind of like the key ones I like to tell people about would be like the stellar gateway activation, the galactic cord above the head, your connection to the cosmos. Or I'm looking for a new foundation. I want to be more comfortable in my body. We'll do an Earth Star activation. Perhaps you've been in a car accident or something like that. Your 369 rod that runs up, 369 dimensional rod, thick rod that runs up the body. Sometimes that can get knocked out of position when we have like really intense physical accidents and things like that. That one holds the seat of our multidimensionality and the blueprints of the 12 dimensions. So it's really dependent on what's happening in the client's vortex. And when I set up these activations, usually before they even start the session or right after, their body was already preparing them and they're having events transpiring and taking place that then led them up to it because they knew they made a connection there. It's pretty awesome. I spend about 2 to 3 hours before clients come each day putting the whole entire session together. And then when we do the session, it's organic in the moment as well too. So we have both those wisdoms and medicines and sacred downloads coming into play. So I do aura scanning sessions too, which are an hour and a half. Those are 7 layers in the aura. So I'm trained in aura scanning. And then we do your outer shell rebalancing. Those actually can be stronger than working directly on the body. And then I have another modality called Tamiana, or as my other business partner here, who works in the Star Temple with me, taught me Sacred Heart Tamiana. And when that's brought into the field, you have foundational, which is 7 planes of existences lined up to where the chakras are. And then you have another set of symbols because you're putting light encoded energy symbols on the sides of the body with quartz obelisks that only get used for those sessions, and you activate them. So you have foundational up the sides, Antakarana above the head, Gaia code below the feet, Pleiadian star code in a big giant square around the table, and then Tara code as well too. And of course, universal hexagram. Those are all part of the Tamiana vortex. And what Tamiana does is it's a masterful container for bringing up core root patterns, behaviors, and routines that no longer serve us. And it might even take 15 to 20 of them at one time and bring them all up so that they can be seen. So if you're wanting to change your daily patterns, that's the go-to medicine. You can also do a scrub with them too, meaning we take one of those layers and it becomes the focus through all 7 of the layers as well too. So it's a progression. You're still doing energy work on the body, but you're primarily writing a lot of transmissions down, and those gets transcribed into the email. The universal hexagram session holds the container for all the work that had previously been done up until that point, or is great for sacred ceremonies. Okay? That's epic. So you have like somebody who's passed on to the next realms. They exited the body. Maybe it's an animal companionship that you've had in your home, or possibly dealing with complications of basically any time somebody's exited the body, we have a sacred ceremony for it. Or it could be shedding of the old self, moving into the rebirth of the new transdimensional, alchemically transformed human being as we're in human form for a temporary period of time. And so I work with the oversoul, all sorts of energetics, and they get interwoven. Just like Alicia does too, we both do cord cuttings of various forms, reattaching new timelines, and bringing in all sorts of toroidal field work as well too. Now I have a couple other sessions. So I have one that's 2 hours for spiritual guidance, or decoding our sessions further. And then in addition to that, I have Exit the Matrix chats. So if anybody's just unraveling the fact that we live in a world of illusions and that there's a false overlay going on top of the grid work, I can help you navigate and work through that. That's a great one, from everything from like, whoa, there's chemicals everywhere and I didn't realize how intense they were on the body, to there might be subliminals happening through the airwaves. We can help you navigate all that stuff into the field as well too. And then after all that's done, because I got a lot of sessions, I have the transformational packages, right? Sets of 3. I can set them up to any way I want to support you. I have a couple types of those ones. And then I have an interstellar spa where you can, whether you see what I put on the website or not, doesn't matter. I can make the spa catered to you as a custom. Basically, you get the whole Star Temple for a weekend, and you get 2 6-hour days. And we basically set you up with multiple sessions, extra table time. We'll have some special teas. We'll go through and pull oracle cards. We'll basically metaphysicize for an entire weekend and do whatever we need to do. And if you're needing additional support during that time, you can just phone me, even if you're roaming around Victoria. So these ones are done in person, and I'll be there to support you in that vortex as well too. And you get multiple sessions as well too over the days. And then I have a solar year intensive, which is 12 stages of the light body, 1 2-hour session per month with a daily practice that takes you the whole month to do them on repeat. There's a couple of them where you do them just on the weekends because they're very powerful, but for the most part, it's a daily session. This program is off the charts. So it's like the maximum apex point of all the things that I put together. That one's big time dedication for advanced light workers as well too. Somebody wants to add on half an hour, you can do that to a session. You want to put a guided meditation in there, I can slip that in as well, which comes with one of my activations, the stellar gateway chakra as well too. So, and then I also teach multidimensional Reiki courses. First, second, and third degree, that's Reiki plus. Everything you know about Reiki plus more, all the things that some individuals have shared with me that they missed in their classes, I'm probably teaching it. So we bring that back into the fold, refocus. I can do this, the training online, but I much prefer them to do them in person, but don't let that deter you from reaching out. And when we do the stuff in person, at least while I'm here at the Star Temple, I'm doing 3 beings at a time, so we can put the focus on you directly. And it's very high vibrational training as well. And then I offer workshops and, like I said, a whole series of events as well too. But the multidimensional Reiki is like so much more than, we want you to become a universal life force energy technician and how to administer it. And you get to do it in a professional healing space. So it's pretty awesome. The Star Temple is a 5G bioshield, so no EMF can get in the room, and you drink reverse osmosis crystal charged water. All right. So that's a little bit about how I work. Check out the website. There's lots of great info in there. If you just want to book the multi-wave mat and come lay on it for an hour, that's also bookable as well too. Now, for the star of the show, it's all the stars of the show, the star-dusted moment. Derek and Alicia work together. And we do a whole bunch of sessions, and we're building up our toolkit, and we might be adding some more in the near future too. Plus, we also do some events when we're local and in person. So me and Alicia met online, and we decided that we co-created a friendship, but we also decided that we were really interested in galactivating together. And it wasn't like we were just going to start collaborating right away, but we both knew that something was going to eventually happen here because we stepped into it at equal playing field. The thing is, I love how we activate each other to get us prepared for all the additional work that we're doing. Let's just say between Derek and Alicia, we're constantly tuning each other up on a consistent, regular basis, whether it's through sessions, offerings, wisdoms, and such. So I'll let Alicia speak about that in a sec. I just want to throw in one more item, is that when we're working on each other, doing sessions, or we learn something new in our toolkits and we share it with each other, it gets integrated into both of our sessions, but in a way that it reformulates into a knowing that gets sent to the other being, and they're able to use it in their own authentic way. So we work completely different, but we speak the same language. I've been getting like ear tones, eye twitches, seeing particles, lights flashing, messages, scans on the body since I was a little child. So it's an honor to have another being in my reality that does powerful sessions, and we can upshift with each other because we need healing too. The practitioner going through that vortex, you're not immune to that stuff just because you're offering these sessions and done the work. We all have to pull back and receive. And it's pretty awesome. So talk a little bit, Alicia, too, about how we upshift each other, and then we'll get into our session types that we offer.
Yeah, well, while I was sitting here, I was really just reflecting on what a beautiful thing it is to be a person in this shifting landscape, this 5D upshifting reality, this opening the photon band. You know, Derek and I will read books together, and next thing you know, in our activations, like the photon band, the Temple of the Sun, all these things, we're like, whoa, you're right here. But yeah, just admiring how, even when you were sharing about your activations, how, like, by the time anyone's watching this, and there'll probably be 10 more, and for me too, and it's exactly what you're saying of this continual, the definition of master, is actually a continual learner, and one who shares that information. So it's a really cool evolvement. So in terms of our way that we upshift each other, yeah, well, first of all, Derek and I did meet virtually, and so most of our healing work together has been virtual, and that's kind of phenomenal in a way. And I will say that I started with galactic cord, just not beginner level, and probably one of the most like tremendous, potent activations I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, who knew that you could just be laying on your bed and like full on changing your entire reality, or sitting in someone's kitchen and full on changing your reality? Yeah, and speaking to the way things integrate, so for example, I was at one of Derek's fifth dimensional chakra system workshops, just, casual Saturday morning, and in person. And literally by the next day, like, it's not only integrated into my field, but even today, I'm like working with people's thymus chakra and their soma chakra and their palm manifestation chakras, and what's going on with your Alta Major? I'm like, my body is just going like this, and I'm like, I'm channeling from the Alta Major right now. We've got to like actually go in there and clean some stuff up. So yeah. The other thing that just feels important to share is like how cool reality is. When I was just hearing you sharing about, assisting with animals and that kind of final, stage of crossing the veil. I mean, I would say that every time that you and I work together, there's something that opens between us, metaphysical activators, and the level of attunement that I have experienced through us working together is beyond my wildest dreams. And so, for example, today I've already been attuned to helping energies seen and unseen shift and move. But literally, like, my level of attunement since our meeting has gotten so strong that somebody's family member passed just recently, and they're right next to me, and I can feel them. And then I open the transition, and next thing you know, I can feel them above in my higher crown chakra, and they're like giving us messages through. So I'm going a little off script here. However, it's just really cool how just the more you know, kind of the more you are.
And that's a good segue to do this, because once Alicia and I are together, especially when we've done in-person sessions or duo distance, and we start talking about the client files, decoding things, jamming off from what we read in a book, it's like all these signals start firing off, and all these light codes come in, and it's just like we're downloading like long scripts about what this is all means, how it functions in the human body, and the stuff to support. So imagine getting a session with us and you're getting double the amount of downloads. So it's pretty epic on that end of things, bringing that into the field. And just saying, you guys know from watching my show how much modalities I try, how much I'm swimming in this field. Alicia does what I do times 3, at least. Consistently and regularly, week after week after week after week. And I like integration time, and I think that's important. Alicia is very good with integration time. She's masterful, but she's able to handle that much going through the field, because I don't normally recommend it that way. And I'm just blown away by all the awesomeness that I see. So it's just one continuous shift. And we also like going to the EE system lots. The energy enhancement system with the scalar waves. So we've sat in there a couple times together, both in Portland, and then when you did a road trip up to Vancouver and we met up, we sat in there together, and then we both do it independently in our own hometowns as well too, which is pretty epic. And so Alicia, when I was recently in Portland, I was doing sessions there. At Alicia's healing space, and then she came here, did an event at the Star Temple, which we'll talk about that at the end, and then also had some clients locally as well too. So it's really neat, like being able to shift and share and grow with that stuff as well. And that potency of keeping this vortex going is really illuminating the whole container, which makes the energetics that much more powerful for going through the healing process as well. So Alicia, in no particular order, we have 2 sessions and a kind of an event that we like to do together, and one we're actively talking about working on, so we can mention it. We'll see when that one manifests. The first one would be our duo animal sessions. Let's talk all about that.
Definitely. And actually, I'm feeling really called just to kind of share a quick bit of how Derek and I really, it was actually through our animal sessions that we sort of came together in this more formal way the first time. But we're really seeing the way that I hold a field and Derek holds a field. And like you said, they're kind of the same, but they're almost like 2 vortexes within the same torus field. Whereas Derek is like all of the metaphysical parts, the meta technician, mission. And I'm like, okay, now all the family system parts, all of the ways that we are in the world and exist in the world. And one thing I'll just say about when you say I do a lot, my Taurean approach, I'm really good at that long, like right now I'm in a 60-day plant diet. Like I do very long practices. So they kind of like mesh in that way. So
Earth
yeah,
seed,
animals.
star seed. But they're
Uh-huh.
both galactic, but like Earth to sky, and it really balances the two together so they can meet in unison.
hmm Yeah, so our animal sessions. So I started doing animal work in the last 2 years. In fact, it was through the passing, the sort of shepherding of the passing of my 16-year-old beautiful ally Phoenix, that this came into my realm, where one day he just started teaching me animal communication organically, and I was like, oh, I kind of just know this. I've been doing this forever. And then he's teaching me how to transition animals across the veil. And next thing you know, I'm in every park you can imagine, like connecting with the birds and seeing animals that have maybe ended this incarnation realm on the side of the road and helping them transition. The next thing you know, I'm getting animal clients for various things. So I started opening this realm, this vortex of animals. And in fact, in 1 year's time, had 3 channeled sessions all say, you work with animals. And I was like, yeah, sure. And they said, no, that's like your purpose for being. You work with animals. So over the past, who knows when you'll see this, but a couple years, this process of everything I was doing with humans just started opening for animals. And as I mentioned before, it's a process where we're working collaboratively with the entire home, household, and family system. So I have a session called Animal Support Session, which is that 2.5 hour, 2 to 2.5 hour Akashic Record type session with the people and the animals. And so how we do a duo together is we actually said, what happens if we double the vortex? I was coming to Derek anyway and going, hey, I'm getting all these downloads, and, I would just love someone I can trust to ask these things to. And then next thing you know, he's getting all these downloads. And then we're like, well, what if we just offered them some like universal life force support, and just organically we're like doing this as we're just walking around Vancouver, Canada, or Portland, just kind of like supporting animals in the telluric realms and the whatnot. And then one day I had a client and I was like, this animal has a particular, so for animals with particular acute physical things that are going on, or metaphysical things going on, so acute or chronic, those would be really great people to send our way. Or just for any reason, someone's just like, hey, this being is so special, and maybe they're not at their full potential, or maybe they've got just a lot of stuff that they've endured over the years. So you will meet with me first, and we will have our session, kind of our session time with the animal and you. Animal does not have to be present, but they are present for the whole thing. So you and I will have a 2-ish hour Akashic alignment / animal support session. And during that time too, ideally in tandem, Derek will be doing his work. However, it will be sometime in the vortex, ideally that day. But it always just kind of aligns the way it does. So you come to me, we have an in-person 2 hours, all the downloads, all the healings, clear the field, etc. Lots of learning in real time. That can be recorded if it's virtual, etc. Then we go offline, and there's a period of time where I do 30 minutes of just sitting with whatever's coming through. Generally, that's connecting with the Akashic Record directly, moving energies, moving spaces, moving stuff off the body. Animals in particular need a lot of physical support. They're complex, and of course, but they're a little bit differently complex than the humans. So I find with animals, it's a lot of just like physical body support. And that's where the duo session can really, really be, it's like the most potent healing I've ever seen for an animal, because it's just that focused time where I'm doing 30 minutes at that point, light language, Akashic records, moving stuff, source energetics, different charts. Some of my charts do additional patterns to support things, bringing in crystals. The crystals might be moving stuff out of the field, etc. And then Derek, what is your part of this?
Yeah, well, then after that's done, you come and see me for an hour. I'm doing it remote, so I'm not there live on Zoom with anyone, and I'm transcribing all of the downloads that I get. And I do the sessions as like a 1 hour multidimensional Reiki session. So it's universal life force energy for your animal companions. And I like what Alicia said about linking it up with the human, because that's a major component in full spectrum healing for animal support. And so I go on the treatment table, just like I do with my human sessions at a distance. I do the session exactly like you were in the room. Everything's turned on, the music, the whole bit. We go through the vortex, and then I do universal life force energy, turn on the multi-wave mat, pull out some tuning forks when it's appropriate, and all of my various tools, as I mentioned before. And then I'm writing down all the downloads that I'm getting for that specific animal, and then also at the same time assisting if there's any ones that have exited the veil and they want to do a sacred ceremony, things like that. And then I'm doing tons of universal life force energy for primarily with the animal kingdom. It is still physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, but it tends to be a lot of emotional and physical components. So we're reviving the total harmonic wellness of the physical vessel. Because one of the ones we worked with, like their legs just kind of went out for a dog and they couldn't really walk much anymore. And it was just really bizarre how it happened. One session we did together, we get a call a week later and they've been walking perfectly fine again. And it just slowly went up throughout the week. It was almost like it revived quite fast. So we're helping revive the physical vessel. And then I'm also jumping into the field based on what Alicia told me and what I'm getting downloads in the moment and adding mine into the mix, getting fresh downloads. And then on top of it, continuing the fractal web and the timelines of what Alicia brought up as well too. And she's doing the same for me because sometimes we're even just talking on the phone, having a quick call, setting this up. And right away, we're already getting downloads and we haven't even started the session yet, either of us. So we're kind of always working. It's just running in real time like that. These sessions are very profound. And if we need an extra 5 or 10 minutes, honestly, we go where we need to go because we're here to support. And then all those energetics are then sent and then transmitted over to the feline friend and the human companion as support, mostly focusing on the feline dog, cat, bird, whatever it is, companion. Could be any animal in the vortex, could be something on a farm, nature bits that are hanging out around in the telluric realms, like a deer that comes over regularly. It can be anything, really. And then Alicia primarily starts that process of linking it from the human to the animal, which opens up that vortex because hers start first. And then I link back into that field and I'm doing animal, then back to human, right? It's pretty cool. They both kind of come in automatically and then we work with that field. So very powerful stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just to clarify again, so you get the in-person Zoom session with me. So that's the 2 to 2.5 hours. You get the half hour of virtual work from me, at least an hour of virtual work from Derek. And then you do get a follow-up email that contains both of our downloads, particularly a lot of downloads from Derek. Yeah, and we're both metaphysical activators, as Derek mentioned. Like, this work happens the moment you say yes. This work happens kind of the moment you think about it. So sometimes you'll even see the symptoms kind of ramp up beforehand because it's about to move through the field. The healing is very quick, and we're in all time when we're doing this. And you'd be surprised. Animals have vows sometimes coming forward, a lot of times coming forward too. I've seen some really curious past lives because sometimes animals were recently a human. So lots of questions that can be answered. The one thing that feels important to say is, we're both metaphysical activators. So, just the two, our powers combined, we say double the vortex, but it's impossible to measure.
Double to the power of 7.
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah, and we're here to answer any questions, and at the same time, like, sometimes you don't get yes/no answers to questions. So it's really just holding that field in the highest and best for healing. And please know that the animal is consenting. We do check in about that. The animal's right there with us the whole time, and they're going to be just as actively engaged and guiding the field too.
Mm-hmm. And
so you can find.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I
was going to say, you can find all of this on my website and on Derek's website too, where it's all written out exactly what's going to happen, and you schedule through there.
Wonderful. And I want to mention too, if there's a pinched nerve that I find or the blood pressure's high, like very physical stuff like that too, I will share that with them. And sometimes that's located. A cyst, a growth, a complication. Maybe that's why the animal's also reacting the way it is. So there's different elements, and then we'll deconstruct what the messages come from those various body parts as well too. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Okay, so that's harmonic duo animal sessions. Mm-hmm. Now we have harmonic, and this is under your collaborators section. on your
It's on my
website.
collaborator section. It's on all of my offering pages as well.
And then I have mine in quantum collaborations as well too, under my selected treatment tab. And then there'll be a category for it. So harmonic duo for animals, and then we have harmonic duo for humans, which is kind of similar, but instead of the animal, we got the human. So you want to start speaking about that one?
Yeah, I mean, really similar format. And with the humans, I'd say the main difference. So you may have a little bit more human talk time in terms of our sessions. Whereas animals tend to be more of that 2 hour, humans would be like 2.5 hour of a session. Same format. I'm going to go in for 30 minutes after our session. Derek's going to have his 1 hour. The main difference for me is that a lot of times, whereas animals might be really focused more on like, oh, this came from a physical or emotional type reason. Humans, it's like, I'm ready. I'm ready to see beyond the veil. I'm ready to activate these parts. I'm ready to know my higher self. I'm ready for these parts of my oversoul. So with humans, it's a little bit more like, what do you want to spark? Because it's if you find yourself in front of this page, you're coming into this page for a reason. Also with humans, there can sometimes be the option where we might actually have you interface with Derek depending on the timing for that hour. So there can be a little bit more flexibility in terms of like what you're wanting to move in. And then with humans, often we may guide you towards like, hey, it's time for you to do like now a package with Derek where we intersperse Alicia in, or a package with Alicia where we intersperse Derek in. So with humans, I'd say the sky is the limit in terms of what this turns on, activates, transmutes, moves into. From there, it's like, oh, it's time for my whole family to get on board, and then my animals. So for me, again, it's the level with which the human is coming in as the reason for this quantum, mega quantum shift.
Yeah, totally. 100%. So you get a couple hours with Alicia, right? Is that the same length?
Yeah, animals is
The animal?
technically 2 hours, and you get a slight discount because of that, and human is 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours as well too. And then you'll get a whole hour with myself, and then I'll send the transmissions after to Alicia through the interwebs, and then it'll all get transcribed for you in a follow-up email. And like I said, with the animal sessions, that's the same thing I'm doing with the humans. So we're just continuing that vortex and getting it going and booking both of those sessions as close as possible. Quite often right after the other one, most often within that day vortex or the evening of, because it's set up that way to be able to work it that way. And then when we're in person with each other, I'm sure we'll do this more than often. When you came to Victoria, BC was the first one. We're going to do another one when I go to Portland at late August there, and it's called a Quantum Collaboration Day. So think of it like what we just did there, but it's this one's in person only.
Wow.
And you get even more time. So you get to do it in person, but you get all 3 hours in a row plus talk time. So you'll get 2 whole hours with Alicia doing an Akashic alignment session, and then you'll get a whole hour with me right after. We'll just walk you over to the treatment table. So if you're at the Star Temple, you're in one of the other rooms with Alicia, and then you come out into the main room here and lay on the table at Alicia's healing pad. Then we go from one station and then into the room you're currently in and have a treatment table session. We're going to talk about the downloads between everything that came up, and then also walk you through the portal at the end with some decoding time. So a 3 hour Omega session, which is pretty epic, and we've called them Quantum Collaboration Days. Do you have anything else you wanted to add to the Vortex?
Yeah, what's really cool with the in-person is in person, like the psychic field, it just, or if we want to call it that, but the field is just, it's so vast. And so we keep the space open the whole time. So when I open space, we're calling in every one of your metaphysical parts, any ancestor realm that we're working with. We're calling in your Akashic record, the most evolved version of yourself. So we're linking into the timeline, the quantum potential of everything that you're waiting for and more, and opening to and more. So after we finished kind of our table part with physical sitting at a table, you transition to Derek, at which time I'm continuing to do for a little while like hands-off energetics, but typically then I'll come into the room and whoa, the level of things that start to come through. And this is where it's cool for Derek and I too, because we're activating new parts of ourselves. So like especially because I really focus on things like, the sacral, like I'm lighting up parts in the sacral or the root and the earth parts. So I'm like connecting you in deep into inner earth and linking up parts there. We're having like mermaids or other types of things come in, different parts of your oversoul. I mean, it's really, really incredible, this ability for us to co-collaborate in a table session like this.
It's amazing. And when we're doing the decoding stuff, we already said double the vortex and like double the downloads. The thing is, between both of us, there's no subject under the galactic central sun that we won't be able to talk about when it comes to quantum energy healing. You could bring up numerology, animal spirit guide, something came into the session, chromotherapy, this wild modality that you have just tried for the first time. You get these messages, you bring them through, and we'll be able to deconstruct them or find a place in a book or quick research, and then we can start jamming off about them because we're very well versed and educated in a whole slew of modalities. Whether it's a planet for astrology came up or we felt a gentle nudge in a certain spot of our body, like we'll be able to talk and meet you where you're at in that specific now. So it's pretty epic. Now, Alicia, how would everyone find you if they wanted to go online, your email if you feel like sharing, all the different jazz, whatever you're comfortable with? How do they locate you?
I'm going to share all the things. I want to share a few other simple things is that we can also meet you in very 3D things. I can't tell you how many times somebody will come forward and say, XYZ happened between me and my partner. And it's like, oh, well, here's all the meta information that's coming through from that. Or my right knee is hurting. Okay, well, let's talk about moving forward energies and like action in your life. So we will meet you wherever you're at. We'll meet you with whatever languaging works for you and whatever level of personal dogma is there. We're here with you. So there's nothing that we can't attune to, and nothing's too like compressed or too expansive for us. I also want to share that for Derek, so we talk a lot about universal life force, and for me we talk about the Akashic records and things like that. The true depth of the energetic shifts that we're doing and moving and activating, and like the way that we're working with your astral bodies and your metaphysical parts, it's indescribable. And at the same time, you right now can feel what we're talking about. This is within you. You understand this beyond the words, and we just create that space that you can really feel what we're tuning to in this, because this is everything that we are and more.
Awesome. So how can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me. So again, my practice is The Light of Bliss. Look me up. I am on
lightofbliss.com.
The Light of Bliss. So look me up. I'm on thelightofbliss.com. I'm on Instagram, The Light of Bliss. I'm on the Facebook as The Light of Bliss. My email is bliss@thelightofbliss.com. All the ways.
Awesome. So the same email is the same as the website that has all the info. And for myself, you can find me as the Cosmic Messenger all over the internet, YouTube, right to Facebook, the whole bit. And then I have my website, which is my web portal to link you to my website. It's the first tab at the top is Linktree/the Cosmic Messenger. There's a dot in the tree between the R and the first E's. So Linktree/the Cosmic Messenger. We'll put them in at the end of the video so that everybody has a visual and then they can write it down if they need to as well too. And my email is thecosmicmessenger33@gmail.com. Now we're not sure when we're going to launch it, but we've talked about also having maybe we're not sure yet, but like a 2-hour decoding session where you can just get both of us on Zoom, or if we're in person, we're together, and then we can decode into that. If somebody reached out, even if we didn't put it on our website, reach out anyways, we'll create something for you in the moment and make it happen, because that's just how rad we are and how we work. And then as things develop, we might solidify, and that might speed up the process for it as well too. But technically, if we've brought it up today in a terms of a style or a session type, feel free to reach out, because we probably already created it, or would just want to build that for you in the moment. So we are very flexible. Alicia does those duo sessions where there's 2 people at the same time. I do the same thing in the Star Temple too, with 2 treatment tables, right? So there's lots of different options, but we're talking about our duo services. And so a decoding session, feel free to reach out anyways. We'll hook you up and make something happen. It's pretty epic. Now, that reaches the end of our video today. We're getting close to the finishing. Is there anything else you need to share with the audience today, all of the
Hmm.
collective on planet Earth? And I want to thank you for being here as well, too. I really appreciate this.
Hmm. Yeah, what's really coming through is just setting up an energetic right now for anybody who even comes across this, that this is planting a seed of inspiration. It's planting a seed of awareness, whether it's that you're going to work with us or just in your life or whatever's ready to shift so that it's coming through more clearly in ways that you can understand. And that this level of information that we are sending out into the cosmos today reaches every single person who is ready, even to just receive the energetics that we're bringing across in this moment. So we're here with you, and may this enlighten all, as well as the earth, awakening the codes that are ready right now.
Mm. Thank you. What a broadcast this has been today. This is going to be one of the longer ones that I've done in a long time. This is epic. Thank you, Alicia from the lightofbliss.com for showing up today to do this awesome broadcast about our duo services and a chance for others to learn about new practitioners and also ones I'm working with and sharing our own sacred services as well, too. Thanks for coming. Right
Thank you
on.
for having
All
us.
right, everyone. Well, this is the end of the broadcast. You'll have our contact information down at the end of the video. And I hope everybody has a wonderful cosmic day. We launched into the end of May into early June with these Class X solar flares. We just finished who knows by the time you even watch the video or when it's broadcasted, we had the full strawberry moon in the recent one in
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius and a whole slew of alignments going on. And we've been in the Pluto retrograde. There is a lot of codes and templates and stuff happening. Plus, we had the Silver Gate portal at the end of last month, too. I mean,
Hmm.
this is a big trans-dimensional portal, and it's an honor
Hmm.
to share it with all of the citizens of this planet, all of the sentient creatures. So until we meet again, thanks for watching the Quantum Cafe and the Interstellar Lounge. And if you need anything from both of us, we are just one email away. All right. And we both do curiosity calls. They're free ones, so just reach out if you want to chat any further, and we'll get the process going for you. Because I know it's an intimate affair, meeting and working with a new practitioner. All right. Other than that, take care, everyone, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for joining.